Who is this live during the day? Hi, my name is Althea Gobble. I'm going to break down a few techniques with this concept with Demi Method. If you haven't heard of it, it's just an alternative way of seeing makeup using balancing colors that are already existing on your skin and basically not wearing foundation or concealer with it. So I'm going to break down a few techniques. If you have any questions, please let me know. All the products I'm using are from Saint, besides my mascara and one little brush that I have that is not from Saint. If you've not heard of Saint, it's a direct sales company, and I have the liberty to be called a Saint artist. That doesn't mean I'm a professional makeup artist, nor do I need to be or claim to be, but that doesn't discredit me from sharing what I love to do and learning new things and learning a new product, learning new ways to see makeup and sharing them with you. So here I am. So if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm first going to, let's do my brows. I always like to do my brows first. If you have never tried a brow wax or a soap or anything like that, or a glue, highly recommend. Vincent Ford shared one the other day, and I really love it. He used the exact same way. I like this because it's in my palette, and I like that, and I like the convenience of it. So I put a little bit of setting spray. You can use water to get it kind of activated. Put it in a little spoolie like this, and I like to back comb it into, let me get my hair out of the way. Back comb it into my hair first. It was kind of scary at the beginning. Have you ever tried the brow wax? So typically I'm not on during the week, during the day. If you don't know, if you're new here or you've been here but still didn't know, I am a full-time public school teacher. This is my 30th year teaching. So I'm retiring this year. Yeah, been in the same system, basically the same building my entire career. So we are off for Christmas break, and I've enjoyed the morning being off, doing some personal development, learning some new things, researching new concepts, and then I always like to practice different techniques and experiment, and then when I feel I want to share it with you guys. So that's what I've been doing this morning. So what have you been doing? So I'll let that sit for just a second. It doesn't take much for it to dry. Then right when it's already kind of dry and tacky, I take my finger and I press. I just take my finger and press and roll, press and roll. And this is going to lay them flat, not fat, but flat, and kind of going upward a little bit. Doesn't take a lot of pressure, just be really gentle. And since I've gotten the brow wax and been doing it this way, I've actually let my brow hair grow a little bit, and it's made it a lot better. So I don't have to fill in as much where I've lost hair and it's gotten thinner. So then, right after I let them all stand up, take the edge of your brush and just give them a little bit of direction at the top. And what you want to go in a different direction, give it to shape. Oh my gosh, so easy. And literally will last all day, never move. And it makes filling it in so much easier. So I like to fill in with a contour, indigo contour. You can use an eyeshadow, you can use your favorite pencil, but I do like to fill it in where it's kind of sparse and dull. So I'm going to use the indigo contour, and I love how this brush, we have the double-ended or you can just use a brush that has a straight edge. If nothing else, I like to do my brows if I'm not going to wear makeup today, but I am. But any brows to me, especially as we age and they get more sparse and thin, just filling them in with indigo contours. Thank you so much. I do have microblading done on my brows, and I do like it. It has definitely faded. I do like it. I don't know if I repeat it. I don't know. But what makes it nice is it does give me some definition behind hair, so I don't have to fill in as much. But I did find that letting the hair, my brow hair, grow a little bit and using brow wax does more. And then I just take a little bit of fill-in for the shape. Paying attention to a tail here, making it go out, widen the eyes a little bit, and not come in too far. You just kind of play with it and see what works with you. But definitely do your brows if you haven't done them yet. Okay, now with this Demi Method, I'm not using, I'm going to put some lip conditioner on. Again, it's in my palette, so I'm here. I love all these things. You may have your favorite lip balm, but this is really good, and it's used with our skincare, and it's nice and convenient being right here. But condition your lips as well at the very beginning and let that soak in, and it just hydrates your lips and really helps with application. I am 53, so I definitely have aged skin. I definitely have hollowness. I have large pores. I have acne scars. You definitely see areas where I have veins that show through because skin is translucent and gets more translucent. We lose volume, and sometimes the makeup industry, I say sometimes, but most times the makeup industry really doesn't give us something that works with mature skin. Highly recommend using creams, but I also love using this method without a foundation and a concealer, because no matter what, as we age, our skin does get textured more, and you may have naturally extra textured in your eyes, maybe larger pores, scarring, that kind of thing. Sometimes, I'm trying to be nice. Foundation concealer is going to add that texture even more on top of textured skin. And this method subtracts that away, takes that out of the equation, and we work with color, because your skin is the only thing that actually allows light to come through and bounce around and show the color. But that makes it look human and like skin. But what happens from sun damage, age, acne and scarring, and just all the things that were already had color on your skin when you're younger just get more amplified because our skin pigment starts changing. Even skincare, which is wonderful. Number one priority to making your makeup look its best, or your skin look its best, is it's going to lighten areas, and some areas might be a little bit darker because you lightened areas with the skincare. So that's going to happen, and this opportunity, this method really helps us to not add any texture or product to the skin that you can see, allows our skin to look its best, but then we can balance the color. So this is using very saturated color. So if you are new here, this is what this is. And if you're not new here, I'm going to show you some breakdown a few techniques with the Demi Method. It's the brushes. Okay, you could do this with products you already have. You may have some cream contours and different colors. Get those. Highly recommend. I'm using, actually today, I use Indigo Contour for my brows. I'm using these two. I've added in a new one in my palette, is Shadow Contour. So it's going to be a lot more cooler, and I'm going to use that for my eyes. So you can use a contour for this concept. There's nothing out there that does what these correctors do. Maybe one day we'll have something. You can use tanners to do what you could do with the contours by adding color. You want to use something very warm, and the red browns and oranges, those type of things. So you definitely can use your cream blushes, and I would not think powders or eyeshadows actually can do what you need something cream that is going to be super sheer when it goes on. I like these because it fits in a palette, and I've been using these products for over 5 years now, and the Demi for over 3, and it's just so easy to apply. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to use, the key is little brushes as much as possible, and you don't always have to use a tiny brush everywhere. You just kind of look at your face and analyze exactly what are the things that you really want to pay more detail on to get more bang for your buck. Mine's going to be right in here, and on this side of my face I feel like I have a lot more sun damage and aging on this side, so I will pay attention to a couple little areas over here. So those are and around my mouth. These are the areas that I might take a little more time with, and then the other areas where I just want to balance color and everything else, it will be a lot quicker. So just analyze exactly what you want to do and start there. So I'm going to first just add some color, because as we age, I just look pale, I look ashy, I look dull, and I don't want to be. I want to look alive. And I find that using an orange for pale skin, dull skin, mature skin, this color can work across skin tones just by adding a little bit of warmth. So I'm going to use a larger brush for that, and I'm going to do it in larger areas. And it's very quick. So that is something I save time on. You can use bronzers for this. You can use even a contour to do this concept. So it's really just adding color to paleness. So I'm just going to pick certain spots that are very pale. And what I really love about using this so sheerly, look how clean my brush is. I can apply it on my neck and not getting any added texture. So right in here, it's super pale, right in there, and this kind of helps give me some balance. And like I said, being mature skin, just want to add some color. And this process, this step, to me, on me, is super quick. Hence the bigger brush, bigger areas. So just kind of look where you're wanting it. I'm putting this in areas very light, fair. And I want to around my mouth. It's very common for women in this area. If you're very fair, you're going to get very blue-green in this area. If you go on to the darker skin tones, you're going to get very blue. So orange is a color that surely can be used. You can use an orange bronzer, you can use an orange tanner, and all of those are going to give you back some warmth where you're needing additional color, and at the same time neutralize some of that pale dullness and blue-green. And a lot of times, especially right in here where a lot of blood vessels are close to the skin, right in this area here, but a lot of my mature ladies right in here in this little area, we get very, very purple and violet, and it's like a blue violet, and that's just blood vessels and everything's close to the skin, and you can see it because we've lost volume in here, a lot of wear and tear over the years, and it just really shows through translucent skin and gets very blue violet. So sometimes adding a little bit of yellow or something in this area too helps counteract that. So I'm just really using the orange to give me some additional color and warmth. All right, so that is 05, and just adding some color. Now I'm going to take a little more time, and I'm just going to start with my eyes. Like I said, you can, and because that's where I'm going to spend most of my time, my nose always starts itching when I go live. So I'm going to zoom in, get nice and close. And I'm going to just give a little bit of added color right in here. Do you see that light? And it makes this very dark. And do you see I have pigment and missing areas of pigment? And then when I smile, it just accentuates it, especially on this side. Do you see how it just accentuates this hollowness, this indentation here? But really and truly, the color is amplifying it more than the actual wrinkle or hollowness itself. So if I can just help add some color in these light areas, and even on my nose, I have light spots on my nose. That's from sun damage, scarring, just over the years. This is very thin skin right on a bone, so this is going to be an area sometimes we get a lot of light spots, and it changes the shape of the nose. It makes, and also our nose continues to grow as we age. So this can be an area where we get a lot of unbalanced color. So I'm going to take a little more time here because this comes forward. Please let me know if I'm connected. Okay, so right in here. But I'm going to use a very, very little brush. A little brush. And this one I got from Amazon. I actually need to get me some more. I have, if you've watched me before, I've used a larger brush. And sometimes I feel like I get the brushes too large in an area where I need it because I feel like I need to do more in a quicker way, and I end up having to undo because I've used too big of a brush and did too much product. Okay, it's very easy to do. Even now, after been doing this for a while, I get in a rush and feel like if the more I apply with a bigger area, I'm going to save time, and I don't. So, lesson learned, still yet. Little brush, just a few spots. I'm going to actually use henna contour. I've used different ones. I like the henna and the olive the most for this because it really mimics pigment. So looking back at my pictures when I was much younger, this area is where I typically have freckles, and this is a natural where my cheek pushes up, so it's accentuated. It makes it look like it's super hollow due to different colors that are there. So here is a light area, and then I have some pigment in here. So I'm just going to fill in between those areas of pigment, and it's going to bring back some depth and make it look less hollow. So I am going to take a small brush and just lightly tap in those light areas, the lightest and the brightest. And you see how that is already changing. Use very little product. And if I take the time and just use the tiny brush, I have a lot less work. It's a lot quicker. And I don't have to undo things. Even I go into those bad habits of picking up a big brush and just swap it in there. And I end up having to go back and filter out the dark a lot more. Smaller brush. And just going in between the darkest and go to the lightest and the brightest. And if you were here just a few minutes ago and watched, it already is 90% better. Just by adding color in those little light spots. And now I don't have to do so much here. Okay? I don't have to do so much. Just right here itself. Okay? This blows my mind every time. Now, I'm not going to keep going. I just really want to take time more here, adding in and mimicking pigment and color just in this area. I'm not going to do this all over. I just want to take more time here and get more bang for my buck by using this tiny little brush, tiny little bit of color. This tin would last me years. And just really look and see, okay, this is where I want more depth of color. I could, if I was a young person and didn't have a lot of texture and large pores and discoloration here, I'd probably just take my contour and just kind of take a bigger brush. But I have a little more issues here and I can't really do that. So taking a little time with a tiny brush in tiny places, it's a lot quicker and I have more bang for my buck for taking the time to do it. Same thing on the nose. I'm not going to do it everywhere on my nose, but the areas that are disrupted by the natural shape of my nose due to the lack of pigment, like this little section right here, is where I am lacking pigment. It's a scar. And so I'm just adding that pigment back, and you can see how it is actually structuring my nose back to its natural shape and not being disrupted by lack of color. And look, I mean, using this tiny little brush, I've already done so much work right here, and it took absolutely so little. All right, same thing here. This is deep looking, but mostly it stands out more because this is lighter, and then this is super dark. So if I could do something to minimize that so it's not as prominent, and then in here there might just be a few dots that changes color. Now I have a cleaning tile, which I love, and clean off my brush. I just replaced it because I wore the other one out. So I'm going to take the exact same color. I like to clean it off even if I'm using the same color to make sure I don't get too much product. So what it is a couple little spots that's light. It's like in between freckling, age spots, blood vessels, broken capillaries, and you can see, look, this is getting softer. Same thing here. There's a couple little light spots. And the beauty about doing this is there's no evidence of product on my skin. Now, that right there already has changed everything that and giving me exactly what I'm looking for. There's a little spot right here I keep missing. Okay, I'm not going to keep going. It is exactly where I want it. And I use so little product. All right, now I can do the same thing. If you want a little more structure here in your cheek, do the same concept. I have this dark blue vein right here, and then this light area around to there. So I'm going to do the same concept with henna. And it ends up being just in a few spots. And you can see how going around either side of that in those light spots. And the sides of the face is very common area to have sun damage, especially on the cheek. Now look at that. That is not as prominent, and it gave me a little bit of structure to my cheek, and I only use like 4 or 5 dots of color. Even less needed than before. Okay, so now I'm going to take another small brush, or I could use the exact same brush, but I'm going to use a smaller one. This is the spot brush, and I'm going to use Spellbound, and I'm going to use the same concept to give me some flush to my cheeks. I am not fortunate enough to have a nice fleshy cheek. I do have a little red spot here, just a little, but it just looks lifeless. So I want to add that back in, and I'm going to use Spellbound and a little brush, and I'm going to use the same concept. So think about where you would want a natural flush. Think about areas that are light in that area, and you can skip over areas that are already red. You can even do the same exact concept up close to the eye, and this is going to look the most natural flush. And if you feel like you got too much, and I did, you just tap it away or brush it away. You just don't want to end up undoing and doing over and adding more issues and start back at square one. So I just did a little bit of areas that are light. And then any areas that are very red that have like a dark point in it, I'll filter that out at the end. I can even take that same color, this red violet, which I naturally have right there, and even add that a little bit in these areas of super light skin, and it's going to give some depth back there. I can even do it here on the nose in a couple of spots as well, because it's going to mimic blood flow. But again, all I'm doing is hitting areas of lightness, like right in here. See, I got heavy-handed. And, okay, really love it. Okay, that area right there is all I've done, and really love that. Super easy. It's undetectable. Really love it. Okay, I think I'm just going to stick with this on this side and continue and just let this side go and just do this side with you guys. And then I'll finish it and show you the before and after. Did I take a picture? Yes, I did. Okay, so now that I have cheek color and I have some balance in this area. I'm going to now take a little bit using that same brush. Thought I would change it. And I'm going to use this color Shadow to give some structure around my eyes. I'm going to use just a little bit and use the exact same concept around my eyes using a tiny brush. So I choose to use the smaller brushes in this area because to me this is where I feel like I get more bang for my buck and take a little more time with detail using a small brush. But you can see, I know people are thinking, okay, small brush, who has time? That'll take me forever. I'm only putting in a few areas, so actually it's less time for me. And you see how I'm just building in structure in light spaces. So this is as we age, the hooded eyes, which is the most dominant eye structure out there. And as we age, even if we didn't have hooded eyes when we're younger, this is going to come forward, we're going to get sunken in, we're going to lose volume. So this just becomes more and more prominent, and it gets lighter because it's coming forward, and adding a little bit of depth to that and color to that kind of pushes it back and up away. And I don't like to have too much color next to the brow or light either, because it's still going to make it come forward. I want it up and away. Then adding a little bit of depth here kind of makes the eyeball a little larger. And I have a vein that's right there. Do you see it? But I'll filter that out in the end. So see that skin right there? I just want to add a little depth. This color is called Shadow, and it's a contour. It's more of a cooler contour. And then I'm going to, oops, I almost lost my brush. Go back to this little bitty brush. Like I said, I need more. They're from Amazon. I love them because it's not too short, not too long. Gives me stability, but yet got a little bit of move and groove in there. I'm going to use this color 07, a very saturated orange. Yet again, it's translucent, but it's the most amount of just orange pigment, and I'm going to use it to filter out the eye lining around my eyes that is tattooed, and I just want it more neutral. So I take that 07 and tap it right on, and you can see it's neutralizing the blue and the depth of color, and at the same time it's matching it in saturation, so it just literally looks like it matches the skin next to it. And same thing here. Just want to take away that depth. And the tiny brush makes it easier to just get into that lash line. So it's a lot more neutral and softer. And then it leaves the depth way down there into the lashes, which I like. Okay, eyes done. Eyes done. Now I'm going to do my lips. I think I want a little more in my cheek. So you always need, see this little light spot? Can you see it? Yes, there we go. I got too much on my brush. And like I said, you can even go up into the eye area for that as well. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of henna, and I'm going to use the smaller end of the shape brush. So here I am not going to pinpoint here because this is where I want to take a little more time, a little more detailed with the smaller brush. And up here there's some light areas, and I've already warmed it up with a little bit of orange, but especially here on top of the brow. As we age, this is going to be more hollow, and this is going to come forward, and this is a common area to get very, very light. And so I want to add, what is that? There we go. There was a piece of mascara from my mascara brush. Okay, love it. And that's a little bit of henna. And I used a smaller, but yet it's not very small, because it matched the area that I want to do, and there's not a lot of stuff there that I need to detail like I did around the eyes. Especially this area is very delicate, so the skin is, especially being mature, the skin is finer, and it's going to be, the wrinkles are going to be finer. And so this tinier brush and the tinier amount of product, and taking a little more time with that and learning the light area to the dark area will benefit you, taking the time to do that. And areas where you don't feel like you need to do as much, you can save time using a larger brush and using the product in a bigger way. All right, I'm going to do lips, and then I'll filter, and I'm done. You can do your lips different ways. I struggle with my lips, but I like to take a little bit of, clean off this brush because it's got the Spellbound on it, and any red violet, black cherry, Spellbound, that we still have RV7 in the Demi, would last you forever. Ever Red. I like the red violets. You can use pinks. You can use red orange colors. Just pick a cheap color. I like the red violets because it mimics blood flow, which I need. So I think it's the easier and the most complimentary, especially for cheeks, for a lot of ladies. All right, so I'm going to use the henna contour, and I'm going to right here next to the lip in these light little spaces. So I have to be very careful, so I have lines around my lips, but putting so much product right here around my lips is only going to accentuate the lines. So I'm using the same concept. This brush is not as small as the other one, and it really surprises me after really learning the areas that are light and just adding color back to them saves you so much time. So I went further away from the lip right here and leave that little ridge of light there. I don't want to add dark to that. I wanted to add color closer to the lip so there is no separation between light and dark of the skin, because your lips can get more of a pout in the center if you just don't make that differentiation here. Same thing here. Using a little product, I'm going right next to the skin. Right next to the color. And I'm only tapping in light areas. I was only going to do this side of my face. Here I am, got carried away. All right. Okay, I'm only going to stay on this side because I was only going to do one side. Same thing here. You don't want a white ridge here. And as we age, it's very common. See, I'm just using it like a marker because there's such, and I'm laying it next to my skin like that, giving a little bit of color. Sorry, can't even focus on what I'm doing and saying. love it. Same thing here. I have a very textured chin, and the colors accentuate that texture. I like to smile and just kind of touch in these little areas around with a brush. And you can see how very little, it looks like I'm not putting anything on my skin, but you can see the difference. It's more tone and imbalance, and I only touched where it's lighter. All right, now I'm going to take another brush. You can use your finger or your favorite gloss, whichever. I'm going to use, this is the bright brush. I'm going to take Spellbound and just tint my lips. I've done my lips different ways. Here, I'm just going to put a little bit of tint. Adding color, paying attention to the outer edge. See how much, love it. You can use lip stains to do this. You could use even tanners. You can use these colors work really well too. Your favorite lipstick, and just put it on with a brush. You can do that. Now the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these three colors and filter out the dark points, okay, just on this side. And I like to start with my eyes because typically that's where we feel, or I do, I need to take a little more time with. So I just clean it off using this little artist detail brush. I'm going to only focus, notice that this was super dark like this, and it's really just in there. There's a couple, and this little dot, and this right here, that right there, and this in there. Now it is very minimal. It's going to be just a couple of dots. This in here is like a red violet. Don't worry about what colors do what. I think these core colors right here fits a lot of, especially if you're fair, but seriously, all of these, all three of these you can play with in different ways. I'm going to use the yellow Y01. Anything that has, and I got too much product on my brush, you see it? That's how we know we got too much. Hey, Bellany. All right, do you see that? Just want to take the smallest amount, taking my brush, and I turn it on its side and lightly tap. Don't dive into it, okay? And only hitting those dark points, and then you can see smile, and it's never the whole area. It's really only ends up being a freckle or two, or an age spot or two, or a blood vessel or two, and right away those maybe 5 dots of color. All right, then I'm going to take an orange. This 03 is different than these oranges because it's in a low saturation, meaning less orange pigment in it. It's kind of right in the middle. Did you hear that? My stomach's growling. That was really loud. Okay, so 03, and I'm going to take and use this to subtract or neutralize anything with depth of color. And that vessel right there, that blood vessel that's close to the skin, here, a couple of veins here that show up, and they're pretty much toned from the orange that I put there. Look at that. Right here on the nose, I have a very violet blood vessel right there, and the rest of it's just kind of shadowed. So remember, I put dark here and dark there, and so this right here, if I can just take out the darkest points within that area, and it ends up being just pigment. So I'm just going to use the Y01 and just touch it. Y01 is a yellow orange, so it's going to take care of anything like a red, purple, is never really red, it's always violet. Red is very rare to have on the skin. All right, and then you can see, wow. And there's so little on my skin. So in your cheek, you know how I added just a few dots of that Spellbound in this area, and I had a red patch in this part that was already there. Typically when you have naturally red cheeks or rosacea, it's same concept. It's never going to be the whole area that is bad. It's going to be a couple little hot spots in it. So that Y01, barely touching it, and touch the, did you hear that mustache cry? Just keep in mind, it's never the whole area. Just pick the darkest ones, and let it rest, because what's going to happen is our brain is looking at something like if you had a mirage of colors. Mirage, is that the right word? I don't know if that's a variation of a bunch of colors in one area, and our eyes are going to be drawn to what's dark. And I've shared this in my stories before. I probably need to share it again. But our brain is going to process everything that relates to that darkest color that's in there. So if you remove the darker ones, then the brain's going to go to what's next that relates to the next darkest. So if we can just take out what's dark, that's interrupting everything else around it, then the color, that way you don't remove all the color, you just removed what's distracting. And that's all I did here, the cheek, that where I had that red patch, just 3-4 spots to take out the darkest one, and then let the rest be there. It still has variation of color, but yet the brain is not processing that all of that same color, because I took out the dark, then it only sees a pretty pink or a natural even tone of red. That's what I love about it. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing with the dark here on the lips. Just a couple little dark points there. You can also use this on the lips as well. I know I said lips in here, I'm on my nose, but I forgot there's a blood vessel right there, and I just took out the dark of it. Hyperpigmentation, anything like that is going to be a common thing around the mouth, and just take out the dark of it using the orange. If it's very, very dark, go to Y01. Here in the cheek, and then I will move on over here to this side of my face, and I'm only using that orange to take out depth of color. I don't want to erase all color. Notice I don't get lost in, okay, I need this color for this spot, this color for that spot. Don't get lost into that. Like I said, these three right here, you can take your orange and your red and make an orange red. You can even add a little more orange with this to make it more of a saturated orange with a little bit of yellow. These are your core things, and it's very quick to learn that how quickly you can learn what the colors look like on the skin by making mistakes. And I'm just taking out depth of color and leaving variation of skin, which I want. I want it to look like skin. I want it to look like this is what it was when I woke up this morning, which it was not. That's what I want. And that's mainly for the skin. If you want more of a glam, I would do the exact same thing to the skin and just add a little more depth to the lips and the eyes, especially for the holidays. And it's just so much easier to wear, lighter to wear, and more comfortable. All right, now I would say I'm done with this. Then right up here, sorry, there's an age spot that's dark, and here, and I'm only using 03 for that, and just taking out the depth. It's mainly a vein. It's so hard when your skin gets thin up here. You have an age spot, and then you have thin skin, and then you have a vein underneath the age spot. All right, now the red especially a red one. Anything in the pink family is going to remove the most evidence of any kind of pigment in your skin. So use it sparingly. Pick it in places that you want just a touch of lightness, or you want to remove the most amount of color. So use it lightly, and to me it's the color that's used the least, but yet I think it's beautiful to have it in your palette. So I've wiped off my brush, and I'm just gonna, hey Jippy, and lightly tap. And I like to use it right in here. So it's very common to get a lot of dullness pigment right in here, and it gives the illusion of droopiness. It gets accentuated by pigment. I'm sorry, I didn't finish my sentence, did I? I start concentrating and trying to be very particular, taking my time, and really love it. All right, I want to use that same color just right here on this part of my lip. And notice I didn't go all the way down, just want it right here in the Cupid's bow. All right, then I want to take a little bit of the 03 right here on the tippy part of my nose to those little dark points, because remember I added color in a certain little areas, and now I'm just going back through to take care of little points of darkness on the tip part of my nose. Okay, then I'm done, completely done. And now you can see the major difference. Now, I know either side of your face is never the same, but you can see more tone, more balanced, brighter, less, I mean, it's a little more alive in my eyes. And here you can see how it's dark, shadowy, light, dark, light, and it's not balanced. So all I did over here is balance at the color just a little bit using some contours, some cheek color, and I use tiny brushes. Do you hear my stomach? It's growling. How embarrassing. All right, so I just use mainly these two brushes for a big portion of the areas of need, and I used only like 4 or 5 dots of color in those particular areas. And you can see it's a lot easier or something than I would just add mascara. I love how the eye, to me, especially adding more of the depth, and too, I took out that darkness there at my lash line, but yeah, I added a little more color around in these light areas, and it just really opened up my eye. See how this is deeper and it's pushed up, and you can't even see product. It looks like my skin, it looks like that is pigment actually on my eyelid. So I really, really like that, and it looks as if I have sculpted out my cheek, like with contour, and I didn't. I only used a couple of dots in a couple of areas. Love it. Same thing with the lips. I just like how this is more lifted, gives more of a pout. Really, really love it. All right, I'm going to finish this side, and then I'll share my picture. If you have any questions about this concept, or if I've confused you, please ask in the comments. I would love to share it with you, and I love teaching it. I love wearing it. Like I said, I wear it every day, and it lasts me all day. I never have to touch it up. I actually forget I even have it on. I have to think before going to bed, okay, make sure to clean my face, even though that's still habit. It just, I like that feeling of it's my skin, and I feel zero product on it, never creases on me. Learning something new has benefited and been so worth my time. So if you are interested and you want like a specific plan just for you, go to yes.outtherematchme.com while my stomach growls, and I will give you guided graphics and clips just for you. And ask me anytime if you need any help. If you've already using Demi, especially if you're my customer, we can troubleshoot back and forth all the time, which I do with all of my ladies all the time, and enjoy, and they love wearing it as well. All right, guys, you got have a great afternoon. I'm going to finish up. I'm going to eat me some lunch, and I got to go do some Christmas shopping. All right, have a great day.